What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. These are my full card breakdown and predictions for UFC Austin. We have Kattar going against Josh Emmett.
I need all the wins, yeah. Harder than all that is. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out.
And we are back for another full card breakdown and prediction video. This week breaking down a phenomenal card, UFC Austin, 14 fights in the card. I cannot wait for it, especially since I will be in attendance for this card. I'll be there from start to finish, from Phil Hawes, Cerrone win, all the way up to the main event, Kattar, Josh Emmett. And this is a fight night card that is very good. So some are arguing like this could, a lot of these fights could be on a pay-per-view card. Like this card is stacked from top to bottom. Of course, we have the Gloria to Paula, Oliveira fight, some other, iffy fights, but outside of those, like, there's a lot of great fights on this card, and I cannot wait to watch it live, cannot wait to hopefully make some money. Should be a very fun fight card. Before we get started, guys, a couple things to talk about. If you guys can please leave a like on the video, subscribe here to the channel if you have not already. Let's keep growing it, and let's keep winning here. 5 straight winning weeks, coming off of a very tough card last week. My night came down to this, so I needed 2 things to happen. I needed the Liang Na fight to finish under 2.5 rounds. That happened. It finished in the first round. And then the other big bet I had was on the fight doesn't go to decision in the main event. And I already counted it as a lot. There's like a minute left in the 5th round. I already posted on Twitter because I already did the math. I was like, yeah, snapped a 4-fight card losing streak. And then all of a sudden, like 29 seconds left, 28 seconds left, Jiri Prochazka submits Glover Teixeira in the 5th round. I couldn't believe it. That finish with 28 seconds left was almost a 5-unit swing for me. So instead of it being a 3.5 unit loss, it ended up being like a 1.3 unit win. So yeah, definitely keep it going. Felt like I kind of lucked out there a little bit, but I'm not even sure how that fight got into the 5th round to begin with. But what a fight, what a card, and I think this card's going to deliver as well. So definitely looking forward to it. If you guys have not already, be sure to sign up on dfsbythenumbers.com. A lot of content coming out. And other than that, got to shout out the winner from last week. So we did the significant strike contest, and I'll tell you right now, this is nobody was close at all, and rightfully so. Nobody expected that fight to go into the 5th round, and I believe it was like 230 significant strikes landed between Glover Teixeira and Jiri Prochazka. But shout to John. John was the only person that guessed in the 200s, and he guessed 200, so therefore he was the closest. John, hit me up on Twitter, DFS_numbers, Instagram, DFS by the numbers with your Cash App, PayPal, or Venmo, and I will get you your winnings there. But yeah, shout out to you, John. Nobody was close, but you were closest and you won. There you go. And then other than that, I'm getting my content out a little bit early this week since I will be traveling to Texas. My betting breakdown video will be out Friday afternoon, and then I'll be going live right after the weigh-ins on the MMA Engine YouTube channel, thinking around like 1 o'clock, something like that. And then I'm going to take off around like 3 or 4 on Friday to go see this card. So looking forward to it, guys. I say we get right into it. Lots to talk about. 14 fights. Banger of a card. We'll start with the first fight of the night. We have Phil Hawes going against Cerrone win. So we have Phil Hawes. He is 33 years old, 6 foot, with a 77.5-inch reach, 11-3 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Cerrone win, 33 years old, 5'6", with a 70-inch reach, 7-2 and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. So let's take a look at these odds here, as we always do. And by the way, guys, this is a card where we have 14 fights. 10 of these fighters are minus 200 or greater. If you're someone that likes parlays, I know I've been trying to stay away from them this week. If you're someone that likes parlays, you have a lot of parlay pieces to potentially work with here. And this could be the first one. Phil Hawes, he opened up as a minus 240 favorite. He's currently minus 260. Cerrone win opened up plus 205, and he is currently plus 220. So Phil Hawes is somebody that I think has a lot of talent, but there are some things that scare the crap out of me with Phil Hawes. And the first thing is that chin. The chin is extremely questionable with Phil Hawes. We saw him get rocked a million times in that Nasruddin Imavov fight. He was able to survive, but he was wobbling all over the place in that 3rd round especially. Chris Curtis, the punch that he landed looked like it barely landed, and it hurt Hawes bad, and Chris Curtis knocked him out. Julian Marquez knocked him out on the Contender Series with a head kick, and then even there was a fight outside the UFC where he got club and sub. So the chin of Phil Hawes scares the crap out of me, especially considering he's a big favorite. The other thing that scares the crap out of me is the cardio. Like, his cardio has been looking better as of late. He's looking better against Kyle Daukaus. Against Nasruddin Imavov, it looked bad, but it looked better than it had before. So the cardio is questionable, the chin's questionable, but my goodness, Phil Hawes should win this fight. And, Deron Winn, I think, pulled out of this very fight like 2 times in a row. So I'm hoping Deron Winn makes it to the cage. And if he does, I kind of think Phil Hawes just runs right through him. Phil Hawes is going to be much bigger, a 6-inch height advantage, a 7.5 reach advantage. Phil Hawes, a 100% takedown defense. Very tough to take down Phil Hawes. And what does Deron Winn typically want to do? He wants to take you down. Phil Hawes, I'll tell you right now, is not Antonio Arroyo. Antonio Arroyo has some of the worst takedown defense you'll ever see, and Winn was able to go out there and take him down 12 times, but Arroyo has like a 41% takedown defense. I think Hawes has all the tools to win this fight. I think he's the much better striker. We saw Deron Winn was getting outlanded at distance by Gerald Meerschaert, which is a terrible look. He was getting hurt by Gerald Meerschaert, and Meerschaert hurt him bad in the 3rd round, and he submitted Deron Winn. I think Hawes goes out here, stuffs the takedowns, and knocks out Deron Winn, and probably does it in the 1st round as well. So, of course, I have my concerns with Phil Hawes. The chin is extremely questionable. If this gets out of the 1st round, I'd have my concerns, but I think Phil Hawes finishes Deron Winn in that very 1st round. So Phil Hawes, 1st round knockout to kick off the banger of a card. All right, next we have Kyle Daukaus going against Roman Dolidze. We have Kyle Daukaus, 29 years old, 6'3", with a 76-inch reach, 11-2 in 1 no contest, and 2-2 in 1 no contest in his last 5 fights. The no contest was in that Kevin Holland fight with that the clash of heads there. So, we take a look at the odds, and we have another big favorite, and that's going to be the case of this card. We have Kyle Daukaus, who opened up -175. He's now -250. Roman Dolidze opened up +150, and he is currently +210. I guess the first thing I want to look at is the wins of Roman Dolidze, and they have not aged well at all. I mean, he went out there in his debut and knocked out Khadis Ibragimov. Ibragimov, I think, went 0-4. Yeah, 0-4 in the UFC and got cut. He went out there and won a split decision against John Alon. Nothing too impressive there. He lost to Trevin Giles, and then he won a decision against Laureano Staropoli, who's on a 4-fight skid, and I believe he's cut as well. So the wins have not aged too well for Roman Dolidze here. And yeah, this is an interesting fight because I think on the feet, Roman Dolidze definitely has a ton of power. I don't really like how hittable Kyle Daukaus is, but the thing I don't like about Roman Dolidze is going to be the lack of volume. This guy does not throw any volume at all. He's landing 2.38 significant strikes per minute. He lands with power, and maybe he can catch Daukaus with something, but if not, Daukaus, his striking is actually pretty solid. I like what I see from Daukaus in terms of the striking. So I think on the feet, yeah, Roman Dolidze could potentially catch Daukaus with something, but Daukaus has shown a very, very, very good chin. So yeah, I like Daukaus' volume on the feet. Another thing I like about Daukaus in this fight is going to be the cardio. I think cardio is key here. Roman Dolidze slows down after that first round. We saw him slow down bad in that Giles fight. His cardio looked a little bit better in the Staropoli fight, but Staropoli was just not putting up any resistance. So yeah, I like the volume of Kyle Daukaus. I like the cardio of Kyle Daukaus, and I like the fight IQ of Kyle Daukaus. The fight IQ of Roman Dolidze is something that seriously concerns me. Like, this guy's dropping for leg locks, he's giving up positions, and you cannot do that against a black belt in Kyle Daukaus. So I think Kyle Daukaus has all the tools to win this fight. He's younger, he's bigger, the cardio, the volume, the fight IQ, I think everything's checking out for Kyle Daukaus to go out here and get a decision win. So I like Kyle Daukaus to win, and I like him to win by decision. All right, next we have Cody Stamann going against Eddie Wineland. We have Cody Stamann, 32 years old, 5'6", with a 64.5-inch reach, 9-5-1, and 1-3-1 in his last 5 fights. We have Eddie Wineland, 37 years old, 5'7", with a 69-inch reach, 24-15-1, and 1-4 in his last 5 fights. We'll take a look at the odds, and Cody Stamann is the biggest favorite on the entire card. He opened at -275. He is currently -550. Eddie Wineland opened up +235. He's currently +385. I think the line is where it is because people want to fade Eddie Wineland. I get it. He's looked horrible, but I really dig into this matchup, and I'll tell you right now, I'm not really running to the window to lay -550 on Cody Stamann this matchup. Like, stylistically, how these guys match up. Cody Stamann, what is he? He's a wrestler. He's going to be at a pretty significant reach disadvantage here. He's going to be at a height disadvantage. And on the feet, I do favor Cody Stamann, but I have concerns like what if Cody Stamann is not able to get takedowns? What if he's not able to hold down Wineland? Like that's Cody Stamann's game there. If he's forced to strike with Wineland for 15 minutes, is he going to look minus 550? Maybe. I just don't know if he's going to knock out Wineland, but you take a look at Eddie Wineland's numbers throughout his career, and there's a big sample size, and on paper, Eddie Wineland's takedown defense is 86%, but that's actually including the WEC fights like way back in the day, well over 10 years ago. If you take out those WEC fights and just look at the UFC fights, Eddie Wineland's takedown defense is like 93%, 94%, something crazy like that. Like this guy's only been taken down like 3 times in the UFC, and he's defended over 40 takedowns. So Eddie Wineland's takedown defense typically is very good. Eddie Wineland's a black belt in BJJ. He's really hard to take down, really hard to hold down. And I guess my concern is, although Wineland is 37 years old, Wineland looks very washed. What happens if Stamann's not able to take him down and hold him down? What happens if this fight does play out on the feet for 15 minutes? But, like I said, I still favor Stamann because, man, Wineland, I don't know what he's doing. Like, the striking defense has been horrendous lately. Hands are very, very low. He's getting hit. The chin cannot take these shots anymore. But again, like Cody Stamann's not really some murderous power puncher by any means. So, yeah, I like Stamann here. I think Stamann is the better striker at this point of their careers. I think Stamann could potentially knock him out, and I'm actually going to pick Stamann to knock out Wineland. Kind of a hot take, but kind of not really. I just think Wineland's so hittable, and I think Stamann's going to have plenty of opportunities to knock him out. I think this fight primarily does play on the feet. Maybe Stamann mixes in takedowns here or there. But yeah, I like Stamann to get it done here. But just the minus 550, you're laying minus 550 on a wrestler to go out there and probably go out there and outstrike a striker in Eddie Wineland. So I think it happens. Eddie Wineland does not look great, and I think Stamann gets it done. I'm going to say Stamann wins. I'm going to say he wins by second round knockout. And yeah, just very, very interesting fight there. All right, next we have Danny Chavez going against Ricardo Ramos. We have Ramos. He is 26 years old, 5'9" with a 72-inch reach, 15-4, and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Danny Chavez, 35 years old, 5'8" with a 67-inch reach, 11-4, and 1, and 3-1 and 1 in his last 5 fights. So we'll take a look at the odds, and you guessed it, another big favorite in Ricardo Ramos. He is minus 300. You open up minus 310, so not much alignment, but there. Danny Chavez opened up plus 260, is currently plus 250. So yeah, Ramos, he's going to be 9 years younger. He's going to have a 1-inch height advantage. He's going to have a 5-inch reach advantage. Massive tail of the tape advantage in favor of Ricardo Ramos. He's very young. He's improving. He's at a very good gym as well. And yeah, I think he does win this fight. Never been sold on Chavez. I'm still not sold on Chavez. I tried to fade him coming into the UFC against TJ Brown. TJ Brown, very good grappler, very good wrestler. I thought, hey, TJ Brown might go out there since he is a really good wrestler and grappler. Why not take down Danny Chavez and exploit his ground game? And that was not the case. TJ Brown did not go for a takedown until like the end of the second round, third round, and Chavez was able to beat him up on the feet there. And then we saw Jared Gordon go out there in his next fight, and he implemented the game plan I thought that TJ Brown would, and Jared Gordon was able to take down Chavez 2 times. It was able to control him, was able to get him tired, make him work. And as the fight went on, we saw Chavez slow down as the fight went on there. Chavez on the feet, he has a lot of power, I'd say. He has 11 wins, but only 3 knockouts. But, when he is throwing, he's throwing with bad intentions. He throws with a ton of power. And if he does land, I guess he could put you out, but I think it's going to be early. I think outside of a first-round knockout, Ricardo Ramos should get this done. I favor Ramos anywhere the fight goes. I like that he's younger. I like that he's longer. I think on the feet, he's going to bring more volume, more tools on the feet, whereas Chavez is just going to try to take his head off. And maybe he does, but I think outside of a first-round knockout, Ramos should take over as the fight goes on. I think he can mix in takedowns. I think he can make him work. I think he can get Chavez tired. And I think he can win a decision here. So I like Ricardo Ramos to win. I like him to win by decision. I think Danny Chavez is kind of first-round knockout or bust here. All right, this is the 1-800-GAMBLER fight of the week, a fight I will be not touching and probably not watching. I might take this fight and take this opportunity to go and get some food during the fights, maybe take some pictures with some people, but I probably won't be watching this fight. We have Gloria Paula, Maria Oliveira. We have Paula, 27 years old, 5'5", with a 67.5-inch reach, 6-4, and 3-2 in her last 5 fights. Maria Oliveira, 25 years old, 5'5", with a 69-inch reach, 12-5, and 2-3 in her last 5 fights. So we see that a 6-4 Gloria to Paula opened up as a minus 175 favorite. There we go. It's so mind-blowing that I can't even speak. And she's currently minus 265. Minus 265. And like I said, guys, there's a ton of big favorites on this card. Not a lot of closely lined fights. Maria Oliveira opened up plus 150, and she is currently plus 225. So, yeah, this is a fight where I think it's a good fight for Gloria to Paula, but really, how confident can you be in a minus 265 fight like this? I mean, this is a fight I want nothing to do with, but to Paula, I actually went back and watched her fights, and I actually do like her striking quite a bit. She has not been able to show off her striking as much as she probably wanted to in the UFC thus far. She was taken down a couple times by Jin Yu Fry, which is a terrible look, and controlled in that fight. She was obviously head kicked by Cheyenne Vlismas as well, which that fight ended in a little bit over a minute. She wasn't able to really showcase her striking, but she was able to showcase her striking a little bit on the Contender Series and also in her last fight against Diana Belbita, which was a very close fight there. But yeah, I like what I see from DePaula in terms of the striking, and I think she will have the striking advantage here against Maria Oliveira. Oliveira, I'm not sold. I'm not sold at all. She's 12-5. I don't really think she's UFC caliber. I think she has a massive hole in her game, and that's going to be the takedown defense. It's going to be the ground game. I watched a couple of her fights outside the UFC. She's fighting like bottom of the barrel. At least we know with DePaula, like she's fought Belbita, she's fought Vlismas, she's fought Jin Yu Fry, who's a veteran. She's fought the much better competition. And then Maria Oliveira, I saw her fight Marina Rodrigues on the Contender Series, which I can't believe that fight was sanctioned, but it was. And we saw Oliveira kind of quit in there. She got hit hard with a couple knees, a couple elbows, and she actually quit in the middle of the fight. And she waved her hand. She waved the fight off herself. And then other than that, like she has these wins outside the UFC, but they're like very, very low-level wins. And then we did see Tabitha Ricci take her down multiple times and control her in her last fight as well. So, yeah, on the feet, I like DePaula striking. And then I think if DePaula wants to, take this fight down to the mat, I don't think Oliveira has good takedown defense. I don't think she has a good get-up game. And I think Gloria DePaula absolutely can mix in those takedowns. She did try for, I think, 4 takedowns against Diana Belbita. I'll double-check. She went for 5 takedowns against Diana Belbita. If she goes for 5 takedowns here, she probably gets 3 or 4, honestly. So, yeah, I like DePaula. I think she has more ways to win. You can't be overly confident in this, but I think DePaula does win this fight and win it by decision. Oh boy. We have Jasmine Jazz the Vicious going against Natalia Silva. We have Jasmine Jazz the Vicious, 33 years old, 5'7", with a 68-inch reach, 7-1 and 4-1 in her last 5 fights. Natalia Silva, 25 years old, 5'4", not sure on the reach there. She is 12-5 and 5-0 in her last 5 fights. You guessed it. We have Jasmine Jazz the Vicious as a big favorite, open at minus 260. She's currently minus 235. Natalia Silva, open at plus 220, and she is currently plus 200. So yeah, a lot of people are taking the dog shot on Natalia Silva. I researched this fight on Sunday. To be honest, kind of half-assed it because I'm not betting on this fight. I never would. But I saw a lot of people on Silva, so I said, okay, I'll go take a second look. I'll go watch more tape on this fight, and trust me, I watched way too much tape on this fight. I probably spent around an hour on this fight because I wanted to like what is everybody seeing in Natalia Silva, and I really don't know. But at the same time, am I running to the window to lay minus 235, minus 250 on Jasmine Jazz the Vicious? Absolutely not. The biggest things that stood out to me is going to be the size. Jasmine Jazz the Vicious, she is going to have a 3-inch height advantage at least. I feel like that can even be bigger. I want to see the weigh-ins. I can almost guarantee she's going to have a reach advantage as well, and I think those are going to play a factor. We saw size play a big factor in Jasmine Jazz the Vicious's last fight against Kay Hansen. Kay Hansen was the much smaller fighter in that fight, and it absolutely showed. And Silva's going to be the much smaller fighter in this fight as well. What I also like about Jasmine is the fact that, her wrestling's pretty solid offensively and defensively especially. I thought her takedown defense looked much better in her last fight. I thought her ground game looked much better in her last fight as well. So she's making improvements even at 33 years old. She's still very young in terms of MMA. So, yeah, I like what I see from Jasmine Jazz the Vicious, and I think she'll be able to dictate where this fight takes place. I don't know if Silva's going to be able to take down a much bigger Jasmine Jazz the Vicious, whereas I think Jasmine can absolutely take down Natalia Silva, and maybe there's like an armbar from guard, but like I said, I think Jasmine's grappling looked much, much better in her last fight, last 2 fights, than it has, a couple years ago. So, Yep, I think size is going to matter here on the feet. It's going to be very close and competitive. You got to imagine Jasmine's going to have a reach advantage, though. I guess the one knock on Jasmine here is going to be the gas tank. She does slow down as the fight goes on. She lost the third round striking against Kay Hansen, not a good look. She lost the third round in the Contender Series, which is not a good look. So she does slow down as the fight goes on, and that's not really somebody you want to bet on there, especially at minus 250, especially in a fight like this. So maybe Silva can come out there, steal one of the first 2 rounds and win the third, but I think Jasmine should bank those first 2 rounds. I tried to find a reason to like Silva in this fight, to maybe, I'm not betting this fight, but pick Silva in this fight, but I couldn't. I think size is going to play a factor here. I think Jasmine wins this one, and I think she wins it by decision as well. All right, next we have, this is probably going to be one of the mostly debated fights out there this week, because it is the closest line fight on the entire card. So it should be very fun. We have Jeremiah Wells going against Court McGee. Wells is 35 years old, 5'9", with a 75-inch reach, 10-2, and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Court McGee, 37 years old, 5'11", with a 75.5-inch reach, 21-10, and 2-3. in his last 5 fights. We'll take a look at the odds, and like I said, these are the closest odds on the entire card. Court McGee, he actually opened up a dog. Court McGee opened up as a plus 150 dog. He's currently minus 120. And Jeremiah Wells opened up minus 175. And he is currently plus 100. So the line completely flipped here, which is interesting. Court McGee is finally getting some respect, which is something you'd like to see, because he was a underdog against Ramiz Brahimaj. He did not look like an underdog in that fight. He dominated Ramiz Brahimaj from really start to finish, and he was even an underdog to Claudio Silva as well. So we now see him as the slight favorite here against Jeremiah Wells. And this is a fight, honestly, I'm not touching this fight. This is a very, very tough fight to call because, on paper, I liked Court McGee a decent amount in this fight, but after getting to the tape on Jeremiah Wells, this is a guy that is training out of Renzo Gracie Philly. These guys have been on fire at Renzo Gracie Philly. Guys like Sean Brady, guys like Pat Sabatini, these guys have been unstoppable. That scares me. This guy is a BJJ black belt. He's 35 years old, so he's definitely getting into the UFC, a little bit later in his career, but he's going to be the younger guy in this fight, and this guy's a lot of power. There are some things I don't like about Jeremiah Wells' game, and that's why I can't pick him here. The first thing is going to be the lack of volume. He's somebody that kind of fights in bursts. He's not the most technical striker by any means. When he throws and tries to take your head off. I feel like Court McGee is going to be the minute winner on the feet, more volume, better combinations, whereas Jeremiah Wells, he might be the moment winner. He might land a big shot here or there. But I think for Jeremiah Wells to win this fight, he's probably going to have to finish Court McGee, and that's kind of where I struggle in terms of picking Jeremiah Wells in this fight, because Court McGee is one of the toughest fighters you'll see. This guy has 10 losses, and I believe, I'll double check it, I think one of those 10 losses is inside the distance. Yeah, one. 9 decision losses for Court McGee, and I just don't know if I can see Jeremiah Wells going out here and winning decision. I don't know if he has the cardio to go out there and push a wrestling-heavy pace against Court McGee. Court McGee, he showed off his wrestling, his grappling in his last fight against Ramiz Brahimaj. Brahimaj was supposed to go out there, and Brahimaj was supposed to be the one that was going to take him down, but it was actually Court McGee dominating Brahimaj on the mat. Brahimaj, a very good grappler in his own right. So I just struggle to see Wells really having a ton of success in the grappling for 15 minutes. On top of that, like I said, I think the minute winner on the feet is going to be Court McGee. More volume, more technical. Could Jeremiah Wells be the second person to ever knock out Court McGee? Potentially, but I think Court McGee is the rightful favorite. I think he's fought the much better competition by a mile. He's the more experienced fighter by a mile, and yes, he's 37 years old, but I'll tell you right now, this is the best Court McGee's looked in a long, long time. So I'm glad to see he's getting some respect on the money line. Wouldn't have minded a shot on Court McGee as the dog, but the line has kind of gotten away, and he is now the favorite. I'm not sure this line goes, but I do agree with the line movement here. I think it should absolutely be close. Jeremiah Wells, this guy's a beast. Not taking anything away from this guy. This guy's a Renzo Gracie, Philly black belt with a ton of power. Just very, very strong as well. Training with great guys. This guy's no joke, but I think the veteran savvy of Court McGee is going to get this one done. So give me Court McGee to win. Give me Court McGee to win by decision. And yeah, this is probably one of my favorite fights on the prelims. This fight's going to be a banger. as is this one. We have Adrian Yanez going against Tony Kelley. Yeah, this fight is going to be phenomenal, and it's on the prelims, which just shows you how crazy stacked this card is. It's nuts. We have Adrian Yanez. He is 28 years old, 5'7", with a 70-inch reach, 15-3, and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. We have Tony Kelley, 35 years old, 5'9", with a 70-inch reach, 8-2, and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. We'll take a look at the odds, and Adrian Yanez is a big favorite. Opened at minus 350. He's currently minus 310. Tony Kelley opened up plus 285, and he is currently plus 260. So, yeah, the line's coming in a little bit. Some money coming in on Tony Kelley, and it makes sense. Like, this fight, I don't think Adrian Yanez is going to go out there and like starch Tony Kelley in the first round or nothing like that. But yeah, both these guys are really good. Tony Kelley is a guy that, not a lot of people knew a bunch about him. I remember him a little bit from outside the UFC, and I actually took a dog shot on him in terms of a pick in his debut against what was his name? Kai Kamaka. And it was a close fight. Kai Kamaka won the first round in a half, and then Tony Kelley, after that 1.5 round mark, Tony Kelley really started putting it on Kai Kamaka. He landed a nice combination towards the end of the second round with some nice knees as well. Potentially could have stole the second round there. And then in the third round, Tony Kelley just put it on Kai Kamaka. So very, very good debut, and his stock absolutely went up after that Kai Kamaka debut loss. And then he goes out there and beats Ali Al-Kaizi. Al-Kaizi takes him down 5 times, but Kelley's able to win based off of submission attempts and damage. And then he goes out there and as a dog and beats a hype train in Randy Costa. He comes in there with the best game plan possible, which was push a pace, push it early, push Costa against the cage, make him work, get this thing to the second round and finish him. And that's exactly what he did. So yeah, Tony Kelley's, this guy's no joke. This guy's a very good fighter, very good striker, very solid grappling as well. The wrestling's not there, and I don't think he's going to be able to take down Yanez. I'm not sure if he's even going to try to take down Yanez. I would think so, but Yanez thus far, a 100% takedown defense. Yanez is a black belt in his own right. We have not got to see his grappling really showcased yet. Maybe we do here, but I do think this fight is primarily going to play out on the feet. And on the feet, is Yanez going to look like a minus 350 favorite? Maybe not up until he potentially knocks out Kelley, but Kelley in 10 professional fights, he's never been knocked out, which that can absolutely change here. And I'm actually gonna take Yanez to win by knockout here. And the reason being is Tony Kelley, dude relies on his chin a little bit too much for my liking. A 45% striking defense thus far. He is there to be hit, and I have a feeling he's going to go in there and stand and bang with Adrian Yanez. Yanez, very good combinations, a ton of volume. Both guys have a ton of volume. But yeah, Kelley is extremely, extremely hittable. And so is Yanez. They're both pretty hittable. But, Yanez, I think, has the power advantage, the clear power advantage. It's not even close in terms of the power. And I think Yanez is going to have a very good chance to hurt Tony Kelley as this fight goes on. So I think the first round is... Kelley probably wins the first round. Like, Adrian Yanez is a very, very slow starter. And if Kelley comes out there and fast like he did in his last fight against Randy Costa, like, Kelley could win the first round. So maybe from like a live betting standpoint, look at Yanez, but I think as the fight goes on, the damage is going to add up. I think Yanez eventually lands a big shot and knocks out Tony Kelley. So I like Yanez here. I like him by second or third round knockout. I know Kelley's never been knocked out before, but he's very hittable, and that just seems like a recipe for disaster against a guy that hits as hard as Adrian Yanez. So yeah, give me Yanez to win. Give me Yanez to win. I'll say third round knockout for Adrian Yanez. All right, next we have the main card, and yeah, this main card's fire. I mean, all the fights on this main card I'm really looking forward to, including the first fight on the main card. We have Gregory Rodrigues going against Julian Marquez. We have Gregory Rodrigues, who is he says he's 30 years old. I don't buy it. I mean, look at his picture. But he says he's 30 years old, so we'll take his word for it, I guess. Rodrigues is 6'3" with a 76-inch reach, 11-4 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Julian Marquez, 32 years old, 6'2" with a 72-inch reach, 9-2 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. So, mentioned earlier that there are only 4 fights out of the 14 that are lined closer than minus 200 for the favorite, and this is one of them. Gregory Rodrigues opened up minus 110 pick'em. He's currently minus 180. Marquez opened up minus 110 pick'em. He's currently plus 155. This is going to be a fun fight. So I think it all really comes down to, how Gregory Rodrigues approaches this fight. Like, Gregory Rodrigues is going to have a legit path to victory, and it's about as clear as day. But I also thought he would go out there and try to take down Armen Petrosyan, but in that fight, he didn't even attempt one takedown in that first round against Armen Petrosyan, and Petrosyan outlanded him 41-18, and Rodrigues shot 0 takedowns. Was it strategic? I don't know. Was it a bad strategy? Yeah, probably. It probably was. So if you're Rodrigues here, you got to go for takedowns in this fight. Like, I think on the feet, he could definitely have success, but that's giving Marquez his one path to victory, and that's landing a big shot. The thing about Marquez is this guy's chin is insane. This guy can eat a shot, and I don't know if Rodrigues wants to get into a war, into a brawl with Julian Marquez. I don't know if he wants to go chin for chin against Julian Marquez, because it probably doesn't end well. We've seen Rodrigues hurt multiple times. We saw him hurt against Park. We saw him knocked out by one Jordan Williams on the Contender Series. And he's been knocked out, I believe, outside the UFC as well. So, yeah, you do not want to go chin for chin against Julian Marquez. And like I said, I think he can win striking exchanges, absolutely. I think he's a phenomenal striker. I do. I think he's really well-rounded. But why not go out there and take down Julian Marquez, who was getting ragdolled by one Maki Pitolo? Went back and watched that fight earlier today, and Maki Pitolo, coconut bombs the striker, went out there and just completely ragdolled Julian Marquez and controlled him for 9 minutes. Gregory Rodrigues is the much better grappler between him and Maki Pitolo. Like, Rodrigues is a legit BJJ black belt. Like, this guy's grappling is no joke. So Pitolo went out there from start to about halfway in the third round, was able to take down Julian Marquez, control Julian Marquez, and kind of grind him out. Pitolo did slow down. He did gas out, and Marquez submitted him in that third round. But why can't Gregory Rodrigues go out there, take down Julian Marquez, just like Maki Pitolo did? I think that is a clear path to victory. Even Alessio Di Chirico went out there and took down Marquez and did it 4 times. Darren Stewart went out there and took down Marquez and did it 4 times. Why can't a legit BJJ black belt and Rodrigues go out there and take down Marquez, where, that's where he's going to have most success? So, can I trust him to do it? No, I can't. He went out there, and it took him about a round to go out there and finally shoot a takedown against Armen Petrosyan. So if he does that here, he could potentially get knocked out. Marquez does hit hard. But I'm going to say he does fight smart. He does get it down to the ground. And like I said, even if he doesn't, even if he goes out there and strikes with Marquez, do I think he loses more often than not? No, I think he could win that fight, but just why not take the path to least resistance and taking this guy down, at least mixing in the takedown. So yeah, I like Rodrigues here. I think he has a clear path to victory. Whether he chooses to use it or not, we'll see. But regardless, this fight should be an absolute banger, and I'm really looking forward to it. So I'm going to take Rodrigues to win. Marquez is extremely tough, extremely hard to finish. I guess Rodrigues could potentially win by sub, but outside of that, I see Rodrigues kind of grinding out a decision here. So give me Rodrigues to win. Rodrigues to win by decision. All right. We have another closely lined fight on this card, and yeah, this should be an interesting fight. We have Damir Ismagulov going against Guram Kutateladze. We have Ismagulov, who is 31 years old, 5'10", with a 74-inch reach, 23-1, and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Guram Kutateladze is 30 years old, 5'11", with a 72-inch reach, 12-2, and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. We'll take a look at the odds, and we see that Ismagulov opened up minus 180. He's currently minus 157. Kutateladze opened up plus 155. He's currently plus 137. So, yeah, where should I start? We have not seen Guram in a long time. I think he's been dealing with some injuries, maybe some visa issues, but we've not seen him in a long time. And his last win was against Mateusz Gamrot in that split decision. Yeah, I thought he lost the fight, but regardless, winning a split decision against Mateusz Gamrot is extremely impressive, and I think that's why he's a very popular dog this week. But I think people may have forgotten how good Damir Ismagulov is. This guy is no joke. This guy is 23-1, and he's 23-1 for a reason. This guy's fight IQ is off the charts. This guy is about out as well-rounded as you can get as well. I mean, 23-1. I mean, we got to give him some props here. He's 4-0 in the UFC, and he knows how to win fights. He really does. This is a fight where, he's going to be the minute winner everywhere. I mean, on the feet, it's going to be Damir Ismagulov throwing more volume. What I don't like about Guram is he's very powerful, he's very dangerous, but he's very, very, very low volume on the feet, and that's going to get him behind in terms of the points. So Ismagulov is going to be, landing a lot more strikes throughout the fight. So I think Guram's going to have to either hurt Ismagulov or knock him out, and it's on the table. Guram hits very hard, but if this fight does go to decision, which I'm expecting, Damir Ismagulov is going to be landing far more volume. Damir Ismagulov, throughout 4 fights, he's landing 3.75 significant strikes per minute. The dude's only absorbing 1.9 significant strikes per minute with a 65% striking defense. Like, this guy's no joke on the feet. And then on top of that, he has wrestling as well. He has wrestling, he has grappling. He showed it off in his last fight against Rafael Alves. Alves did hurt him early, but Damir Ismagulov did go and start getting that fight down to the mat. He was able to control a very dangerous grappler in Rafael Alves for over half the fight as well. And I feel like he can absolutely mix in takedowns here. I have seen Guram taken down not only 5 or 6 times in his debut against Gamrot, but even outside the UFC, this guy's getting taken down as well. He has a good get-up game. He's active off his back, but I think Damir can absolutely mix in takedowns as well. So on the feet, I love the volume of Damir. I love the striking of Damir. You got to watch out for the power of Guram, of course, but if Guram's not landing a big shot and hurting Damir, if he's not putting him out, I think Damir is going to be the clear minute winner here on the feet and on the mat as well. So, I like Damir. I think people might have forgot how good this guy actually is. I will say, he looked off in his fight against Rafael Alves. He was doing this weird squinty thing with his eye the entire fight, and it actually started before the fight even kicked off. He was doing this weird squinty thing with his eye. So I'm not sure if something was wrong with his eye, if he was hurt, but he did not look right in that fight. So I guess that's something to look at. And then we were supposed to see him against Mustafayev. I forget what the date was on that. I think October of 2021. And he came in, he weighed in at 7.5, 8 pounds over the limit, and the fight was called off. So this is a fight where I need to see the weigh-ins, because that's a really tough weight cut for Damir Ismagulov. If he has a good weight cut, I'll have a lot more confidence in him. If he looks rough on the scales, I'll lose a lot of confidence, because like I said, he looked rough against Rafael Alves before the fight even started, and then the big weight miss is a serious concern. So this is one of the fights I'm going to be waiting for weigh-ins on Friday. If he looks good to go, I might even place a bet on Damir. If he looks terrible, if he looks bad, I'm probably going to stay away. But yeah, I like Damir here. I think people are forgetting, 23-1 for a reason. This guy's no joke. And I think he has all the tools to win this fight on the feet, on the mat, mixing in with takedowns. I think Damir Ismagulov wins a decision here as long as the weight cut goes good. So Damir by decision. All right, next we have Joaquin Buckley going against Albert Duraev. We have Duraev, who is 33 years old, 5'11", with a 73-inch reach, 15-3, and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Joaquin Buckley, 28 years old, 5'10", with a 76-inch reach, 14-4, and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. We'll take a look at the odds. And yeah, Duraev opened up -160. He's currently -225. And Buckley opened up +140. He's currently +190. And I get it. Duraev, I kind of don't get it, actually. I think he has the tools to win this fight. But in the Kopylov fight, he showed some serious question marks in terms of the fight IQ. What is he doing? Roman Kopylov wanted to stand and strike with Duraev. And yes, Duraev was having success on the feet against Kopylov, sure. But, what does Kopylov struggle with? I mean, Kopylov struggles with the takedown defense. He got submitted by Carl Roberson. Why couldn't Duraev take him down and do exactly that? And it wasn't until the second round where Kopylov actually drops Duraev early on. That's when Duraev goes for the takedown. If he tries that against Joaquin Buckley, I don't think it's going to end so great. So if you're Duraev, you better go out there and try to take down Buckley and try to do it earlier in the fight and not wait till you get dropped. That made no sense to me. Also, what I don't like about Duraev is the chin. This guy's been knocked out 3 times in his career, and I went back and looked earlier in his career, and this is a guy that actually got knocked out by Ramazan Emeev. The decisionator, Ramazan Emeev, knocked this guy out, and I tried to watch the fight. I tried to get some footage of it. There was no footage to be found, but yeah, Ramazan Emeev knocks him out, punches in 1 minute and 36 seconds, and it was a year ago, right? It was a year ago. No shame in that, I guess, but my goodness, Ramazan Emeev knocking you out. I mean, Buckley hits way harder, so I kind of get why Duraev's the favorite. He should take down Buckley and finish him, but Buckley's power is legit. Buckley's takedown defense is legit, and on top of that, Duraev, his wrestling did not look great in the Kopylov fight. Duraev went 1 for 9 on takedowns. Like, why can't Buckley stuff some takedowns? Why can't Buckley, if he gets taken down, get back up? Why can't Buckley knock this guy out? So I think Buckley's very live here to get the knockout. If Kopylov gets Buckley down, the fight's probably over. Kopylov, I mean, if Duraev, my bad. If Duraev gets Buckley down, the fight is probably over. Duraev's ground game is no joke. We saw what he did to Kopylov when he did get him down in that second round. Good submissions, great ground and pound. He's very dangerous on the mat. So yeah, if Duraev gets Buckley down, it's probably over. But I think Buckley's going to have a lot of opportunities early on to knock out Duraev. I'm actually going to take the dog here in Buckley to win. I'm going to take him to win by knockout. I think somebody does get finished here. I think either Buckley knocks him out or Duraev is able to get that takedown and either submits Buckley or knocks him out. But I'm going to go with the dog here in Buckley to get it done. I don't trust the chin of Duraev. I don't trust the fight IQ, and I think Buckley has the power to absolutely knock this guy out. If Ramazan Emeev can. I don't care if it's 10 years ago. I don't care if it's 20 years ago. If Ramazan Emeev can knock you out, Joaquin Buckley absolutely can. So give me Buckley to win. Give me Buckley to win by knockout. I'll say the first round. All right, next we have Tim Means going against Kevin Holland. Another banger. We have Kevin Holland, 29 years old, 6'3" with an 81-inch reach, 22-7-1, no contest. And 2-2-1 no contest in his last 5 fights. Tim Means, 38 years old, 6'2" with a 75-inch reach, 30-12-1, and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. I'll take a look at the odds here. Kevin Holland, a big favorite. Open up minus 310. He's currently minus 275. Tim Means open up plus 260. He's currently plus 235. Yeah, when was the last time we saw Tim Means against Dalby? About 10 months and 2 weeks ago. So, I mean, I guess the big thing that sticks out is Tim Means is going to be a lot older than Kevin Holland, 9 years older. Holland, that 9-year age advantage. And then on top of that, Holland is going to have a 1-inch height advantage and a significant 6-inch reach advantage as well. We've seen as Tim's careers went on, the durability is kind of diminishing a little bit, and I kind of cringe a little bit every time this guy gets into a striking exchange with, especially lately with guys like Mike Perry and Dalby, and he's able to take those shots, but it's like I really don't trust the durability of Tim Means. We saw that Rodrigues was just hurting him with every shot that landed in their fight. He hurt him bad at the end of the first round, and after that, every shot was just wobbling Tim Means, and Rodrigues was able to submit Tim Means in that fight. We saw Nico Price knock him out, and Perry did hurt him a couple times as well. The chin, the durability, the age, it's all really concerning me for Tim Means here, and we have not seen him in about 10 months as well. So on paper, Tim Means has the tools, I'd say, to win this fight, I guess. I went deep into the career of Tim Means, and there's a big sample size. This guy's been fighting forever. I don't really see a ton of fights, a couple, two or three, where he's going out there and implementing his ground game. And he did it against Dalby. He was able to control Dalby for almost 9 minutes in that fight. He did it a little bit against Starpoldy as well. But outside of those two, he's not really going out there and implementing that game plan. And this is a fight where he's going to want to do that. I'm just not sure if he's going to be able to because, Kevin Holland, that is something he's working on in his game. And Kevin Holland, when he's struggling with people taking him down and holding him down, but who's taking him down and holding him down? Marvin Vettori, Derek Brunson. Really no shame in that, honestly. I just don't think it's not Tim Means' game. It's really not. That is not Tim Means' game to go out there and blanket you for 15 minutes. And if he does do that, I just don't see him. I don't see him having success in doing that. Kevin Holland, black belt in BJJ. Like I said, Kevin Holland working on that ground game, that get-up game. I think this fight does primarily play out on the feet. And at that point, Tim Means' striking is phenomenal. I love the striking of Tim Means, but he's now 38 years old. The chin is not there. Durability is diminishing. Kevin Holland's going to knock this guy out, I think. I think Kevin Holland gets him out of there, whether it's a club and sub, whether it's a knockout. Kevin Holland has a ton of power coming down a weight class. 6-inch reach advantage is no joke. I think Kevin Holland goes out here and gets a knockout in Texas, his home state. So, yeah, I like Kevin Holland. I like Kevin Holland to win by knockout. If this fight was a couple years ago, maybe I'd go with Means, but 38 years old, I don't like that. And on top of that, there wasn't a ton of fights where he went out there and implemented the game plan. I'd like to see someone implement against Kevin Holland, and I just don't know if that's Tim Means' game. He's a black belt in his own right. He has a wrestling background as well. It's just not something he does. So I think Kevin Holland knocks him out here. I'll say knocks him out in the second round. All right, next we have a very fun fight. We have Donald Cerrone going against Joe Lauzon, a fight that we were supposed to see last month for UFC 274, I believe it was. But Donald Cerrone, 39 years old, 6'1", with a 73-inch reach, 36-16, and 0-5 in his last 5 fights. Joe Lauzon, 38 years old, 5'10", with a 71-inch reach, 28-15, and 2-3 in his last 5 fights. So, Donald Cerrone opened up minus 170, currently minus 170. Joe Lauzon opened up plus 145, currently plus 145. So first of all, we have not seen Joe Lauzon in 2 years and 7 months. 2 years and 7 months, so almost 3 years since we've seen Joe Lauzon. The guy's now 38 years old. And then it's weird that I'm surprised he's coming back here because I thought Joe Lauzon was done. He had that loss against Stevie Ray where he looked good early on, and then Stevie Ray started putting it on him, almost finished him. That was 5 years ago. After that, he got knocked out by Clay Guida. Clay Guida dropped him and finished him on the mat. Clay Guida doesn't really do that to anybody. And then he retires on the stool after that second round against Chris Grutzmacher. I thought he was done. I thought he retired there. That was 4 years and 1 month ago. I thought he was done there 4 years ago. He comes back and gets a win against Jonathan Pierce. Kind of a weird situation where he starts fast, like always, and he was able to catch Jonathan Pierce, put him in a bad position, and kind of pound him out there. Joe Lauzon's still going, and I'd be shocked if this wasn't his last fight. I mean, this should be both guys' last fight. I'd be shocked if either of these guys did fight again, win or lose. Joe Lauzon, like, looking at this fight stylistically, like, if we got the Donald Cerrone of, like, a couple years ago, it would be Donald Cerrone all day, no question about it, not even close, because stylistically, Donald Cerrone, very underrated grappler. We don't get to see his grappling a lot. Defensively, his grappling's phenomenal. His takedown defense is phenomenal, and if he would keep this fight on the feet, he's going to pick apart Joe Lauzon. If Chris Grutzmacher's tearing you up on the feet, if Clay Guida's knocking you out, Donald Cerrone should absolutely go out there and just pick apart Joe Lauzon and finish him. But, Donald Cerrone, he's now 39 years old. We've not seen Donald Cerrone win a fight in a very, very, very long time. His last win was against Al Iaquinta, and off the top of my head, I want to say it was back in, 2018. I'll double check, but we've not seen him win. It was Al Iaquinta 2019, May 2019. And then since then, Ferguson lost, Gaethje lost, McGregor lost, Pettis lost, Morono lost, and 3 of those were in the first round, and then 4 of those 5 were finishes as well. So, stylistically, I think it's a great matchup for Donald Cerrone, but the guy's 39 years old. He doesn't have a chin. Lauzon is going to be very live early on. Lauzon, if you go watch all of his fights, he goes out there like a crazy man, especially that's what he's going to do here. He's going to go out there and he's going to try to finish Donald Cerrone early. Like, that's a good strategy, especially against Donald Cerrone, because Donald Cerrone is a slow starter. You do not want to let him get into the fight. If he does, he's going to destroy Joe Lauzon. But Joe Lauzon's going to go out there. He's going to try to take off Cerrone's head early on. And I actually think it's very much on the table that Lauzon goes out there and knocks out Donald Cerrone early on. It's just if he doesn't, Lauzon's gas tank's not good. He's very, very hittable. I don't think his striking's great. I think Cerrone's going to have a big advantage here on the feet, but Lauzon's going to have a window of 2.5. I'll give him 2.5, 3 minutes to go out there and finish Donald Cerrone. If he does, he does. If he doesn't, I think Cerrone beats this guy up and knocks him out late first round, second round. So I'm going to go Cerrone. You can't be confident in either side. I mean, both these guys are done. Like I said, I don't see either guy having another fight in the UFC, win or loss. I'd be really shocked if they did. But I like Cerrone here. But how confident can you be in Donald Cerrone in 2022? You just can't. But I'll take Donald Cerrone. I'll take him to win by second round knockout. All right, next we have the main event. Do want to say that me and Weezy went live on the MMA Engine YouTube channel, did a main event deep dive, went about 45 minutes, talked about this fight through a stats perspective and a betting perspective as well, and then also talked about a bet that I really like on this fight as well. So check that out on the MMA Engine. But we have Calvin Kattar going against Josh Emmett. Kattar, 34 years old, 5'11", with a 72-inch reach, 23-5 and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Josh Emmett, 37 years old, 5'6", with a 70-inch reach, 17-2 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. So let us take a look at the odds here. For the main event, we have Calvin Kattar opening up -170, currently -230. Josh Emmett opening up +145. He's currently +195. All right, so I guess we'll start with the tail of the tape here. Kattar is going to be younger, 3 years younger. Kattar is going to have a 5-inch height advantage and a 2-inch reach advantage. So the tail of the tape, in my opinion, is going to be heavily in favor of Calvin Kattar. Not only because Josh Emmett is a 37-year-old featherweight, which is definitely getting up there for featherweight, but just the size. I think the size is most definitely going to play a factor. And I know on paper it says that Calvin Kattar is only going to have a 2-inch reach advantage, but I'll tell you right now, Calvin Kattar, this guy fights very, very long. His arms are very long. His combinations are very, very long. So although it's only a 2-inch reach advantage, I think he's going to be it's going to look much larger than that. So I think size is going to be a factor here. Youth could be a factor. Calvin Kattar's not that much younger, but Josh Emmett, 37 years old, cutting down to featherweight. First 5-round fight in the UFC. I mean, this can all be a factor here. And in terms of the striking, I think Calvin Kattar is the better striker here. I really do. Calvin Kattar, his boxing's phenomenal. His combinations are phenomenal. Like I said, he lands very long as well. And he lands hard. This guy has a lot of power, Calvin Kattar. But when we're talking power, Josh Emmett has some of the most power you'll see in the featherweight division. I went back and looked at the career of Josh Emmett, and this is a guy that at featherweight, which is 7 fights, 7 featherweight fights for Josh Emmett. This guy's a knockdown in all 7 of those fights. All 7 of those fights there. Even in fights he's losing, he's getting a knockdown. He knocked down Jeremy Stephens, and then Jeremy Stephens knocked him out. Knocked out Ricardo Lamas, knocked out Michael Johnson, knocked out Mirsad Bektic, knocked down Burgos twice, knocked down Ige twice. This guy's power is no joke. This guy's on a 7-fight streak of knocking somebody down. And he has 11 knockdowns. 11 knockdowns in his last 7 fights. This guy's power is no joke. Which makes this fight interesting because Calvin Kattar has absorbed well over 1,000 strikes. And I know, almost half of those are by Max Holloway. Holloway landed 445 significant strikes on him. I know that. But this guy has absorbed over 1,000 significant strikes and has not been knocked down once, which is very impressive. But would it shock me if Emmett knocked him down or knocked him out? Not entirely. But Calvin Kattar has a very good chin. He's very tough, very durable. He's shown it throughout his career. Calvin Kattar's not been finished since 2008 and was a submission. This guy's never been knocked down. Never been knocked out. Could Emmett be the first one to do it? Potentially, but if Emmett doesn't, he's going to lose, and he probably gets knocked out in his own right. I think somebody does get finished here. I think it's going to be a war. I don't see either guy going for takedowns, especially in a 5-round fight. I think that would be a mistake for Josh Emmett to come in here and try to take down Calvin Kattar in a 5-round fight, for one. I don't think Emmett is going to be able to push that wrestling pace for 5 rounds, and for 2, Calvin Kattar's takedown defense is elite. His get-up game's elite. So I think they're just going to stand and bang for 25 minutes. Both these guys, a ton of power. Both these guys hittable. I think someone's going down. I'm going to trust the chin of Calvin Kattar. Like I said, he's never been knocked down before, and it could change here, but I do think he's going to be the middle winner. I think he's going to be the bigger fighter, the longer fighter, and I think he's going to be landing more strikes as the fight goes on. I think the damage is going to add up, and I think as the fight goes on, I see Emmett slowing down. I don't think he's going to be able to keep up with the pace here, and I think Kattar finishes him in the 3rd, 4th, or 5th round. So, I like Calvin Kattar to win. I like Calvin Kattar, I'll say 4th round knockout for Calvin Kattar. But you can't count on Josh Emmett. You really can't. This guy has fight-changing power. But I do like Calvin Kattar quite a bit in this spot. Outside of like a knockout, which it could happen, I think Calvin Kattar should get this done and get it done actually inside the distance as well. So give me Calvin Kattar and give me Calvin Kattar to win by knockout. So that's it, guys. 14 fights. We did it. I do have 4 bets, and I'll talk about those bets on Friday on the Betting Breakdown show. So make sure you guys leave a like, subscribe so you don't miss out on that. I'm going live on Friday after the weigh-ins on the MMA Engine channel as well for my final thoughts, betting, DraftKings, and weigh-ins. Leave a like on your way out, subscribe, all the good stuff. Check out dfsbythenumbers.com. Articles dropping very soon as well. Already started to work on those, and I'm going to start getting ahead for UFC Vegas, the next Vegas card, which is June 25th as well. So lots of things to come. It's been a great summer thus far. Let's keep it rolling, and best of luck for UFC Austin. Should be a fun card. If you guys are there, hit me up, say what's up, and yeah, should be a good one. So that's about it, guys. Best of luck, and we'll talk to y'all very soon.